Well, well, well. So many things going on with the Cowboys as usual. Man, Snoop Dogg says so much drama in the LBC. I say so much drama being a fan of DC. Man, so much going on. We got a couple of different stories we're going to look at tonight. We're going to look at this insane Micah Parsons story. It may be a little old. I don't know if any of you all seen it. But I want to look at this thing that he says on his show, The Edge, his podcast, The Edge. We're going to look at that. We're also going to look at CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, these Cowboys, they do not understand. There are just certain things that you do not say and certain things that you do not do. We're going to look at this story with CeeDee Lamb. It's crazy also. Then we're going to look at the Tashard choice. Wow. That's all I can say to the Tashard choice story. All I can say is wow. Just absolutely wow is all I can say. Wow, wow, wow. It is crazy. And then we're going to look at a couple of mock drafts on NFL.com. I'd like to go over some of those drafts. I think they got a couple of interesting stories on there, or a couple of interesting draft stories on there. I want to look at a couple of those and look at some of the Dallas Cowboys needs. We'll do that all in a couple of hours. We'll do all that in a couple of hours. So, again, welcome, Cowboy fans, Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And we're going to talk some facts tonight. We're going to talk some opinions and everything else. And so as people begin to come in, let's get a few greetings in here. Freddie from El Paso, what's going on with you? Dak owns Filthy, what's going on? Lord Nova in the crib, what's going on? Double Star, yes sir, here we go. Purple Soul, good to see you. James Hill, good to see you. Back in the crib. Nisi in the crib. Good to see you. Gene Ward in the crib. James Hill again. Troy Dudley, what's going on? Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Let me get this super chat in real quick. Dak owns Filthy. Dak owns Filthy says salute. Let's go. Appreciate that super chat, my brother. We still working on that studio. We're going to get this thing done here by the end of the month. Hope to be back in the room by the end of next week, in the studio back in the next week. Yeah. Oh, man. Filthy, yes. This man has diarrhea of the mouth. He wants to be a TV personality is the problem. That's the problem. But Michael, be a TV personality after football, not during football. What's going on, Gene, again? Nisa said, man, the body is going as the head with all the talking in the media. Oh, man. There is no other team they can talk about. Purple Soul, what's going on? There is no other team they can talk about but the Dallas Cowboys. And the crazy part of that is, as much as we talk about we don't want drama, it's strange to me that CeeDee Lamb, a couple of days ago, was talking about basically he was tired of the drama. Tired of being top of the charts. He's basically saying he's tired of all the talking about the Dallas Cowboys. But then he makes the news doing foolishness during the Super Bowl week. And I'm just like, what is going on? What is going on with what's going on? These Dallas Cowboys, man, it's like the players and the fans have become a prisoner of the moment. And I'm telling you, if they're trying to build something with this Cowboys team, and let me start out like this. Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to start talking now. Brian Schottenheimer can't talk later. He's got to talk now. He's got to tell these players, we're doing something different. We're not going to do it the same way no more. Y'all shut your mouth in the media. Shut up. Just stop talking. Stop giving the media stories. Stop allowing the media to post things that divide a fan base. Stop posting things that divide the team. I mean, just stupid stuff. I mean, somebody has got to get a hold of this team. Because I'm going to tell you, if they don't stop talking, it's not going to matter it's not going to matter what Brian Schottenheimer is trying to do. All the talking is just going to destroy it. It is. It is. Gene, can we hurry up and trade? You know what? I like Michael Parsons as a player. I just think if you're trying to build a championship organization that is totally focused, if you're trying to flip the organization, I really think you need to consider whether or not you want to continue with Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons isn't a culture builder. He's a cancer in a culture. He won't shut up. He says a lot of dumb things. He doesn't understand the room. He doesn't understand the moments. He doesn't think even before he talks a lot of time. The Cowboys are going to really have to make a choice. And Michael Parsons talking about being a Cowboy for life. I can just tell you now, he will not be a Cowboy for life. I will not be surprised this is the last contract and he's done. There is no way someone can be a Cowboy for life talking all the time like that. Because eventually people will put up with you when you have a lot of talent. But the moment that talent wanes, they're done with you. I don't believe the Cowboys are going to trade Michael Parsons. But I wouldn't blame them if they did. I know people talk about, I hear quarterback pressures and quarterback sacks. Please stop using those stats. Unless you can tell me what are the result of the pressures. What are the results? Quarterback pressures, I keep saying, they're great, but they're a fancy stat that we just made up in this analytic age. It's a great fancy stat. It's a fancy way of saying I didn't get the sack. We didn't get the sack. People talk about, well, we had the most sacks. We had the most sacks when Michael Parsons came back, for example. Did we have the most wins? How did it translate? Not only how did it translate, we got to understand context. If I tell you that Michael Parsons has 13 sacks during this season, you go, wow, he's a great pass rusher. Hold on, let's do some context. Who did he get the sacks against? What was on the line? What was the moment? Tell me all those things. Because if you're telling me he's doing that against them in the big games, if you're telling me he's doing that in swinging games, if you're telling me he's getting the sacks in the biggest moments, then I'm like, yeah, he's a great pass rusher. But if you're telling me he's getting those sacks against the bad teams, the mediocre teams, well, I'm going to tell you, hey, he's good, but hey, let's hold on a little bit before we just say he's one of the best pass rushers in the last 10 years. We got to stop doing this to ourselves. We let the media inflate a lot of our players to be larger than they are, and then we let them tear down the ones who are actually better than what the media say. We got to stop doing this. We have to stop doing this. We have to stop being prisoners of the moments. The media is one of the most dangerous things for the Cowboys. And Michael Parsons plays a lot into it. Blue Star, what's going on? He said, Michael, goodbye, sir. Talking all that ring. If it's not there, you're going to join the Kansas City Chiefs. That was, I know. Blue Star, I know somebody says, man, he was just joking. Why joke like that? Why joke like that? But if you watch what Micah does, he loves to play on the media. He's basically Jerry Jones Jr. Micah Parsons loves this whole media thing. He loves it. And I think it's one of the reasons why he loves being a Dallas Cowboy. I think it's one of the reasons why he loves being a Dallas Cowboy. And we're about to watch some of The Edge. I'm going to show you what he said on The Edge and why it's absolutely crazy. It's crazy the stuff this man says. But the thing that I like is that Derrick Henry had more sense and more knowledge about the Cowboys than Micah Parsons. And I don't think he had more knowledge, but Derrick Henry is not trying to just be on the stage talking football. Derrick Henry knows football. And Derrick Henry is talking like someone who knows football rather than like someone who is just trying to say something to get a crowd riled up. I mean, it's crazy to me when I watch Micah Parsons do this stuff. It just doesn't make sense. It's crazy. It's crazy. The Real Fan 1. Figure out Micah's trade value and go from there. Real Fan 1. I'm telling us. I think this is what the Joneses tried to do. They are the ones who let it leak about Micah Parsons, about discussions about trading Micah Parsons. They let that leak. Those conversations, guys, go on all the time. Those go on all the time. The issue is they just don't get leaked. Whenever a quarterback is getting ready to be signed or a player is getting ready to be signed, well, of course they're going to sit down. I mean, even if it's not on the table, it's on the table. Because you start saying, okay, is this player worth paying this amount of money? And most people, especially if it's a young player, I mean, he's everything you want on the franchise. Everybody goes, yeah. There's no discussion. But someone still has to say, okay, well, just for discussion's sake, I mean, what would we think the trade value would be? What if we traded him? How many players could we get? And typically, if that player is that good, that conversation doesn't go anywhere. Everybody's like, nah, man, no big deal. The girls and the guys there, no big deal. And you go on about your business, and then you start getting to the numbers. But for that to leak, somebody wanted that to leak. Well, you at least want to know. I mean, wouldn't you really want to know? Micah Parsons is coming up on a big contract. And I'm telling people, stop listening to Micah Parsons talking about he'll take less money. Stop listening to that. I've been looking at the contracts of edge rushers. I've shown the contracts of edge rushers. And when you think about what Micah's doing, man, he's playing semantics. It isn't a question of whether or not he'll take less money or he doesn't have to be the highest paid. We're not asking the right question. Too many people are patting him on the back. Yeah, Michael said he's a team player. He'll take less money. No, you're not asking the right question. How much less money? I mean, you said it, I didn't. I mean, you're the one that come to the table with this negotiating tactic, Micah Parsons. So now, I mean, you said you'll take less money. So someone has to ask the question, well, how much less are you willing to take? Because when I hear someone talking about they're willing to take less money, okay, so what are you saying? You want to be number two? You see the difference? CeeDee Lamb is not the highest paid wide receiver. Justin Jefferson is. But the deal that CeeDee Lamb got versus Justin Jefferson, when you think about the fact that there's a state tax in Minnesota and not one in Dallas, those contracts are closer than people understand. And when you start talking about Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, who is the head and shoulders highest paid edge rusher in the game. To say that you don't want to be the highest paid edge rusher, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I just don't understand that. I don't think Micah Parsons could actually I don't think he could make a legitimate argument to be the top paid edge rusher in the game. I don't think he could make a legitimate argument. I think there are people who could try to make a legitimate argument, but I don't think there is a legitimate argument that he could make to get paid more than Nick Bosa. And the reason why I say he can't make that argument, because when you think about Nick Bosa is doing this on the biggest stages. Nick Bosa is making game-changing plays. And I'm talking about against good teams, great teams. He's been an instrumental part of them getting to the Super Bowls. Super Bowls. He's made plays in Super Bowls. And I don't see where he could make the argument of being the top paid edge rusher, especially over Nick Bosa. And so when you start thinking about this, people got to understand the game that I believe he's playing a game. Yes, will he take less money? Let's look at it for a second. Then we'll go back. We'll look at something else. We're going to look at what he said on the show. But again, I want you to look at what Nick Bosa makes. Nick Bosa is a $170 million defensive end. He averages $34 million a year. He has a total guaranteed of $122.5 million, $88 million fully guaranteed. So we pretty much know that the total guaranteed is probably roster bonuses and things of that nature, right? So y'all need to understand, and people need to understand, and this is how you know people don't do their research any longer. When he says, I don't have to be the highest paid. Okay, so where are you going to fall? Because ain't no way. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm sorry. I'm going to use the double negative here. Ain't no way I'm paying Micah Parsons $175 million. Ain't no way. Ain't no way I'm paying him $38, $39, $40 million. I'm not doing it. Ain't no way. Not to a player that does not touch the ball 60 to 70% of the time. You're an edge rusher. I'm not doing it unless you're unblockable. If you're unblockable, yeah, we about to have a conversation. If you're getting these sacks in the big games, if you're helping in the run game, if a double team can't stop you, and you're actually averaging 15, 16, 17 sacks per season, yeah, I'll pay you $172 million. I'll give you $2 to $3 million over Nick Bosa. I'll give you an average of maybe 35, 36 million. I'll give you $125 million guaranteed. I'll give you 94, 95. I'm not doing that. Micah Parsons, there's no way I'm doing that. And that's not knocking Micah Parsons. I just wouldn't do that. But Micah Parsons is playing a very good game because I think he knows, just like CeeDee Lamb, and it's not a knock on CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, y'all, I've watched Justin Jefferson. Any of y'all watched Justin Jefferson play? CeeDee Lamb isn't better than Justin Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb, top 3, top 5? Yeah. CeeDee Lamb is definitely top 3, top 5. But when you talk about number 1, he's not number 1. Justin Jefferson is number 1. And Jamar Chase made a serious run and a serious bid for the number 1 wide receiver spot this year. Jamar Chase, if he ain't number 1, he has to be number 2. So Jamar Chase now is going to exceed CeeDee Lamb, and rightfully so, because, man, we watched with our own eyes when Jamar Chase played against the Dallas Cowboys. Tell me when's the last time that we saw CeeDee Lamb fight through coverages, catch on triple coverage. I mean, catch fully covered, contesting balls, contesting even underthrown, bad thrown balls by Joe Burrow. We watched it on full display against the Cowboys. So when you start talking about paying players, Micah Parsons, would I pay Micah Parsons in the top 3? Yes, I would. I'd pay him in the top 3, but you're talking about number 1. But Michael took that argument away. He said, I don't have to be number 1. So what do you need to be? Do you need to be number 2? Because number 2 is not going to be a slouch either. If you make him number 2, you're still talking between 170 and 141. Micah Parsons, y'all, is not dumb. Micah Parsons is playing a game similar to how Jerry Jones plays the game too. And they are both doing way too much out here in the media. Both of y'all, stop talking about this contract stuff. Micah, stop telling us you'll take less. Folk don't understand what less mean. If Micah Parsons would come out and say, I'm willing to take below $100 million over 5 years to play, then my mouth will drop open. I'm going to start having a whole different conversation about Micah Parsons if he says he'll take 5 years, $100 million, which is what I would do something like that because you have $100 million guaranteed. It's guaranteed money. Fully guaranteed. That's more than any of these guys fully guaranteed. To take a 5-year fully guaranteed deal, I don't think people understand what I'm saying. A 5-year fully guaranteed would mean come hell or high water. Injuries, I don't have to worry about roster bonuses. I don't need to worry about any of that stuff. I'm telling you, bona fide, $100 million over 5 years. Even if you cut me, I'm still getting $100 million. I'll take it. I don't know about y'all. I'll take it because now I got $100 million guaranteed. None of these other contracts guarantee that. If Micah Parsons talks like that, I'm like, wow, okay, he's serious about what he's saying. But when you start talking about, I don't have to be the highest paid. We're talking semantics here. Okay, so if you're the second highest paid, you're still making $150, $160 million. Let's stop playing, people. Got to look at stuff like this so that we can kind of get through all of the talking and understand what's truly being said. But again, Micah Parsons, this isn't a money issue with Micah Parsons for me, though. This isn't a money issue. It's this stuff right here. Let's go to Micah Parsons, the edge. This stuff may not bother some people. Okay, you built different than me. This stuff bothers me. Let me cue this up. All right. And let me cue this up.
Wasn't your fault. I've got one question for you. Do you know how to get the maximum compensation?
But Lamar had no brainer that he should have won. And hit the year he was supposed to. I just don't like that, bro. I don't like how they're kind of control. I mean, like you said, I'm not mad Josh won. And hold up, I'm not a hater. I'm actually happy. COVID happened. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm like you. And hold up, I'm not a hater. I'm actually 3 MVP. Like I don't. That shit different. There's everyone like 1-on-1.
All right, y'all hold up. I had this queued up today.
You know, once it's all at the same spot, which is like 1 hours. I said, nah, that's not how God works. I couldn't even call Jerry. Jerry wanted to see me in my.
All right. I want y'all to hear how he does this. And again, Micah Parsons is talking like someone who doesn't understand things that he talks about. You know, and he was talking about this is not how God works. And I want you to hear the statement he makes, and then I'll comment on it. But just for those of you who did not see, matter of fact, I just released the video. You'll see it after this live stream. But let you hear what he says.
My best.
Jerry got my number blocked. I couldn't even give it. I couldn't even call Jerry. Jerry got my number blocked.
Nah. I'm actually happy that you had the year. I was telling somebody last night, it was like, you happy? Are you upset that Derrick Henry didn't come to Dallas? I said, nah, that's not how God worked. He was exactly where he was supposed to be.
Exactly.
Year 8, 9 of his career, still going for 1,800 yards, playoffs. He was exactly where he's supposed to be.
Now let me freeze this right here. This is something that has to be explained to people. I explain this to people as I explain this to Christians. See, we have to be careful when we say stuff like what Micah Parsons said. When we say stuff like, that's not how God works, and then we persist to say something that doesn't actually coincide with how God works. We have to understand that our life, while it has a path, our life can take many different paths depending upon what we choose. And if God has given us an ability and a talent, it doesn't matter which one of those paths that we take, as long as we're not taking a wrong path, as in, and when I say the wrong path, I mean the evil path. Derrick Henry's a football player. Whatever team he was going to go to, it's a football team. So it's not an evil way to go per se. But what he wants to do, if he's really wanting to chip, he has to look and see, okay, first, what team can I go to that can get me a chip? What team can I go to that I can get a chip and make maybe not all the money, but make the most money or reasonable money of what I want to make? What team can do that? Now, for Micah Parsons, let me show you how he doesn't understand how God works. So he talks about all the yards that all the yards that Derrick Henry got, right? So can someone tell me, Derrick Henry coming to the Baltimore Ravens, what did it yield him other than what he's gotten before? Help me out. What did it get him? So he was exactly where he was supposed to be, right, Micah Parsons? If I was going to use that language, the person who I could really use that language with, if I was really wanting to drive my point home, it would be one Saquon Barkley, because Saquon Barkley went somewhere and got the chip. So just because so you're saying God had Derrick Henry exactly where he was supposed to be, so God didn't want Derrick Henry to get the chip? So you're saying that God only wanted Derrick Henry to get the amount of yards that he got, the amount of carries that he got, and only the one playoff win? You're saying that's what God wanted for Derrick Henry. Stop it. Stop it. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense to say something like that. We're looking at the outcome. No, let's look at the ability and the talent that God gave this man. It is insane for Jerry Jones and now Micah Parsons. Y'all talk about Dak Prescott being a company man. No, this man scares me. And I've been saying this now for weeks. This man scares me. If I was a player and if he walked up, anything I'm saying, I'm going to be quiet. He goes to games with the owner. He goes to the owner's office. He calls the owner his uncle. He advocates for the owner. He's saying he'll take a discount for the owner. He got to get the owner a Super Bowl when everyone outside of that facility and many in that facility all know, even if they won't admit it, the constant denominator, the problem for the Dallas Cowboys has been none other than Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones making bad move after bad move after bad move, after salary cap mismanagement, all of those things. And we got a player sitting here advocating? Oh, I got problems. I got problems if this man is in my locker room. I would never trust anything. I would never say anything around him. How do you trust saying anything around him? Somebody explain that to me. I've been in locker rooms before. How do you trust saying something around someone like him who advocates for the ownership? How many players do we hear do this? How many Philadelphia Eagles players do we hear advocating for the Philadelphia Eagle owner? How many of them do we hear talking stuff like this about even Howie Roseman? Who do we hear doing this stuff? Y'all do not realize how insane, for all the Michael Parsons apologists, you don't understand. Who else does this? Who? This is insanity stuff. And then he starts throwing the faith into the football, saying stuff that don't make sense. God, this is what God wanted? God don't work like that? So you're telling me God wanted Saquon Barkley to win the Super Bowl, but he didn't want Derrick Henry to win the Super Bowl? This is stupid. It's hogwash. Sometimes, and this is what confuses people, when you're doing what's right, when God has given you an ability, and you're doing what's right based on the information that you have, based on what will put you in the best position to do what it is that God wants you to do, right? This is the part that perplexes people. Well, sometimes there's not a bad move. God is going to use you wherever he puts you, wherever you decide to go. If God has given you an ability, well, that ability will flourish. That ability will still be seen. That ability will still rise to the top. This is dumbness. Even Jerry Jones, well, in the scheme that we run, I mean, he couldn't have been beneficial. Dumbness. Pure lies. You want to know how you help a young offensive line? Again, I brought this up early in the season. Ask them, which one would you rather do? Would you rather pass block or run block? Run block. Offensive lines love the run block because you get to take it to someone rather than it being taken to you. You get to take it to someone rather than you stepping back and then having to worry about them making moves and dips and spins and, stutter steps. You're worried about so much. But when you're running the ball, you know exactly where you're going. An offensive line, they get better first at running the ball before they get better at pass blocking. Derrick Henry would have helped this young offensive line. He would have helped him. There's no doubt about it. He would have helped him. Not only that, Derrick Henry can make people miss. He can. Derrick Henry can make at least one person miss, stiff arm another one, off to the crib. It is literally insane. And this is what Michael Parsons just said. It's dumb. It's dumb. Now, let me put the coup de grace on this. So hold on, Michael Parsons. You're saying this is God's will that he was in Baltimore to only win one playoff game. Now let's listen to the rest, and I'm going to show you where Michael Parsons doesn't realize he's contradicting his own self.
I'm happy that I didn't get ruined by us.
Wait a minute. He said he's happy that he didn't get ruined by us. So, hold on a second. So, many people are arguing about what is he talking about and who is he talking about. So, who is he going to get ruined by? Who was Derrick Henry going to get ruined by? Because, was it the coaches? Was he going to get ruined by the coaches? Was he going to get ruined by the scheme? Was he going to get ruined by the Dallas Cowboy organization as a whole? What was he going to get ruined by? Because my problem is, that if Derrick Henry was going to get ruined by the Dallas Cowboys, now, Michael Parsons, you got to explain to me, are you ruined? Is CeeDee Lamb ruined? Is Dak Prescott ruined? How can you say you didn't want him to be ruined, but you're saying that you want to be a Cowboy for life, and you've been there now, the fourth year? Going into the fifth, and you're not ruined. You have to explain this to us, Michael Parsons. What does this mean? Y'all see the problem? Michael Parsons runs his mouth so much, he says so many things before thinking. Now, if someone asks him what he means, now he has to go back and unexplain what he said, because it clearly sounds like, for all intents and purposes, that it was something in the organization that was going to ruin Derrick Henry that's not going to ruin him. Make it make sense. Oh, you're oblivious to being ruined. Hold on a second. You the same dude that's talking about we're about to make a run. We're about to make a run with Cooper Rush and Rico Dowdle. What? This is the definition of lunacy. Hypocritical. Don't think before you talk. Who's going to ruin him? Because if I'm the offensive line, I'm just kind of like, hold on a second, because the things that you mentioned the yards. You mentioned the touchdowns. You mentioned everything he did on the ground. And in another conversation you talked about, he was blessed to play with none other than Lamar Jackson. Oh, he wouldn't have been blessed to play with Dak Prescott, would he? Wow, what are you saying about the offensive line? Our offensive line was so trash. So you're on the offensive line. How do you feel? And you want to, and this man keeps screaming he wants to be a leader while sitting on the stage of a podcast, a live podcast, entertaining people, disparaging his team, and he don't even understand it. But listen to Derrick Henry. Watch this. Michael's going to go on, but listen to what Derrick Henry says.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it got ruined.
Wait a minute, what? What did you just say, Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry is about to make more sense than Michael Parsons. Let me run that back again. Let me run that back.
He's exactly where he's supposed to be. I'm happy that he didn't get ruined by us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it got ruined.
What? Tell him again, Derrick Henry. I bet you Derrick Henry is sitting on this stage going, who does this to their team? Who says this stuff about their team? Derrick Henry is sitting there looking at this man. I'm telling you, I guarantee you look at this man like, this dude crazy. And tells him straight out, I don't think it would have ruined me. Listen to the rest. And then I'm going to give you proof of why Derrick Henry is saying something that's so wise and Michael Parsons doesn't even understand it. I'm sure it went over his head, but listen.
I think y'all actually had a great bag. I feel like Rico did a great job. Just needed more opportunity, through the season. Dak being hurt, which that make it hard. You got your franchise quarterback. Put a lot more on other players. Cooper Rush stepped in, did a great job. Zeke. Why y'all let Dalvin run the ball? What was going on with that?
That's off camera.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's off camera. Is it off camera, Michael Parsons? Why does it have to be off camera? You see the problem? You want to put all them other groceries out in the street. But then when you get asked a football question, now you say it's behind the cameras. This is pure lunacy on the part of one Michael Parsons. Let me show you something else. Derrick Henry, let me tell you something. Derrick Henry is proving right here on the spot. See, Derrick Henry is someone that obviously watched. I mean, he's playing football, but he also understands what other backs are doing. Let's look at something for a moment. I should have did this in my video. But let's look at something because Derrick Henry made a perfect point. Derrick Henry said, the reason that you guys didn't do better with running the ball is you didn't run Rico Dowdle enough. Because Rico Dowdle, if you look at Rico Dowdle's stats, you come out to something totally different understanding. And Michael Parsons showed his lack of knowledge either of the Dallas Cowboys and what they did, or he showed that he's basically just doing things and saying things for the show. Let's look at something. Hold on a second. So, Derrick Henry asked a powerful question, and I wish I'd have thought of this in the video. Derrick Henry said, why didn't y'all hand the ball to one Rico Dowdle more? So Derrick Henry he was second most carries in the league at 325 carries, right? 325 carries. That's 1,921 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5.9 yards a carry, right? So let's go to Rico Dowdle. So Rico Dowdle was 235 carries, 1,079 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4.6 yards a carry. So let's look at something real quick. So if Rico Dowdle got an average of 4.6 yards a carry, so that got him 1,079, right? So if we do 4.6 yards a carry times Derrick Henry had 325 carries. So that means that if the Cowboys would have given Rico Dowdle the same amount of carries, Rico Dowdle runs for 1,500 yards. That's 1,500 yards. How much better does Rico Dowdle look? What do you think his value is in free agency? What do you think his value is? If Rico Dowdle runs the ball 325 times and he gets 1,495 yards, so how many touchdowns? How many touchdowns do you think he gets? I don't think he gets 16. But let's just say Rico Dowdle, just for argument, I guarantee you Rico Dowdle gets somewhere between 8 and 12 touchdowns. Rico Dowdle at 1,495 yards and 10 touchdowns. What do you think his free agency value looks like then? What do you think it looks like? Not only that, how many more wins do you think the Cowboys get? How many more wins? Because there are games that I can just think of off the top of my head that I believe the Dallas Cowboys win if they run Rico Dowdle. If they would have gave Rico Dowdle in those games 25 to 30 carries. There are two games that come vividly to my mind. There is no way we lose to the Cincinnati Bengals if the Dallas Cowboys run the ball. There's no way we lose to the Cincinnati Bengals. Rico Dowdle had ran the Cincinnati Bengals, y'all, off the field. They had no answer for Rico Dowdle. They had no answer for Rico Dowdle. They couldn't stop him. They could not stop Rico Dowdle. This is the Cincinnati Bengal game. Do we not realize that Rico Dowdle was 18 for 131, 7.3 yards a carry? His longest was 27. They had no answer. Midway through the fourth quarter, Mike McCarthy didn't run Rico Dowdle now one more time. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Now, I'm going somewhere with this argument. Make this make sense. There's another game that comes vividly to my mind. That the Cowboys, if they would have continued to run Rico Dowdle, they don't lose this game. It is the Atlanta Falcons. Rico Dowdle again was 12 for 75, 6.3 yards per carry. His longest was 12. I'm sorry, his longest was 15. They had no answer for Rico Dowdle. They had no answer. But we had an answer. The answer was to make stupid plays like a fake punt on our own end of the field, opening up the second half. We had an answer by not running Rico Dowdle and controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling the clock. We had an answer with all of the dumb play calls we were making. That's why Rico Dowdle didn't look better than he looked. And that's why Derrick Henry is actually asking the question, why didn't y'all run Rico Dowdle more? Now, Derrick Henry, he calls him to the carpet. He says, I don't think it would have ruined me. You want to know why? Let's get to the crescendo. So if Rico Dowdle in 2 games, I just showed you 2 games. If Rico Dowdle, if we give him the ball, we win 2 more games. That puts us at 9-8. So what do you think Derrick Henry does? What do you think Derrick Henry does? If Rico Dowdle got 1,000 yards with this team, you're telling me that Derrick Henry couldn't have got 12 to 1,300 with this team. You're telling me that Derrick Henry is not going to be the difference in some of these games. I would dare say the Cowboys almost came back in the Baltimore Ravens game. I think Derrick Henry makes a difference against the Baltimore Ravens. I think Derrick Henry makes a difference against the New Orleans Saints. Why? It changes our game plan. Somebody says, well, the Cowboys don't run the same type of offense that the Baltimore Ravens run. Do we not realize the Baltimore Ravens didn't run the same type of offense they ran? They made adjustments for Derrick Henry. We would have done the same thing. Derrick Henry would have changed the way we do everything. He'd have changed it. And I would dare say the Philadelphia Eagles pile drived us in the second game. But if you look at the first game, the Dallas Cowboys were in that Philadelphia Eagles game in the first half. They were in that game. Derrick Henry changes the way you play the game. It was strange to me that Mike McCarthy wanted to try to ground and pound when he against the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, what happens if you got Derrick Henry? And you still would have had Rico Dowdle under contract. What do you think this team looks like? What Micah Parsons said made absolutely no sense. But to say that you're glad that Derrick Henry didn't come here because the team, the organization would have ruined Derrick Henry? That if Jerry Jones has that kind of pull, let me tell you something about Jerry Jones, because we saw it earlier in the season. Why do we think that Zeke started against the Detroit Lions after Rico Dowdle came off of? Anybody remember this? Rico Dowdle came off of the best game of the season. He was 20 for 87. He was great in the passing game. What happened the next game? What wound up happening in the next game? Well, all of a sudden, and it wasn't the next game. Let's see here. Let's see. Which game was that? I thought it was the 49er game. That Rico Dowdle came down with a mystery illness and wound up not playing the game. I don't know why, but it doesn't, unless I'm missing something. I know we played the San Francisco 49ers, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Atlanta. Okay, I'm missing something. I don't see the San Francisco game. But I thought, unless I'm in the Matrix, I thought we played the San Francisco 49ers, and that was the game where Rico Dowdle wound up supposedly getting sick. Y'all remember that? And he wound up sitting out a game, which I don't believe he was sick, especially once things started leaking out. Because the San Francisco game, I also believe, had the Cowboys ran Rico Dowdle more. They win the San Francisco game. I'm telling us, Jerry Jones and Michael Parsons are absolutely wrong on this matter. They're absolutely wrong on this matter. Derrick Henry would have made a difference with the Dallas Cowboys. He would have. He makes a difference. There's no doubt in my mind. Kennard, appreciate you.
Here we go.
Ooh, Kennard, this is powerful. He said, we cannot prosper with multiple talented but low IQ stars who are expected to lead. Dump them now and build what you can around Dak. Ooh, that's powerful. You hit it right on the head. Low IQ stars. Let me tell you something about the Bleacher Report. The Bleacher Report, I don't fault them for what they've done. They're genius. They found a person that's controversial. Micah Parsons. That's exactly what they wanted. They didn't want a normal guy. They wanted a guy that's controversial. They wanted someone who says things. They don't want someone that just says smart, wise, good things. No, they got exactly what they wanted. Could y'all imagine this? How much you bet that if Jerry Jones would allow ESPN or FS1 to do it? How much you bet ESPN or FS1 would pay Jerry Jones bukus of dollars to be on their show every single week? Jerry Jones would have their ratings through the roof. With all, it's not that he wouldn't say some good things, but with a lot of the crazy things that he says, he would have their ratings through the roof. They got what they wanted with Micah Parsons. He says a lot of stuff without thinking. Derrick Henry said exactly what Micah Parsons. Derrick Henry blew him out of the water. Derrick Henry started talking facts. Derrick Henry asked the question. Hey, well, I don't think it would have ruined me. You know why he's drawing that conclusion? Why didn't it ruin Rico Dowdle? Help me out, Micah Parsons. Why didn't the Cowboys ruin Rico Dowdle? Why not? No, in actuality, just on a little bit of what they allowed him to eat, now Rico Dowdle is going to go into free agency and probably find him somewhere to play. Rumor has it, the Denver Broncos. Because Sean Payton is probably saying Dallas didn't even use him right. If we could get a hold of Rico Dowdle, and with the Cowboys, he was 235, 1,079, 4.6 yards per carry. We can turn that into more. We can do way better than that with Rico Dowdle. How much you bet Sean Payton has got that on his mind? We can do way better with Rico Dowdle. There is no doubt in my mind. I don't know what Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, and this is why, as a player, I wouldn't trust Micah Parsons. He echoes even some of the dumb takes of the owner. Derrick Henry wouldn't have helped us. I'm glad you didn't come. We would have probably ruined you. There must not have been no Cowboy fans sitting in that audience. I would have booed like crazy. I would have literally booed him when he said that. Blue Star, for sure. Derrick Henry speaking facts. See, Derrick Henry talking football. Micah Parsons up there trying to be a personality. He's trying to be a personality. I don't know what you're talking about because the facts were spoken by Derrick Henry. The facts were not spoken by Micah Parsons. And anyone who thinks that Derrick Henry would not have helped the Dallas Cowboys win more games, you need your credentials taken. You absolutely need your credentials taken. And Skull Unknown, you defeat even your own argument. Now explain to me in your argument, explain to me what Derrick Henry did for one Lamar Jackson. Explain it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. He got him one more playoff win than Dak Prescott. So now he 3-5. Again, Show me where Derrick Henry helped the Baltimore Ravens. Show me. Because last time I checked, the Baltimore Ravens were in the playoffs the year before. Stupid. Keek. Me and Michael not worried about football no more. It's all about the money. He played well enough to get that bag. Once he get it, Michael will be worse. Woo! Boy, Keek. Man, you said a mouthful. Let me tell you something. Jerry better walk circumspectly with this Micah Parsons deal. I'm telling y'all, I just showed you the contracts, and I'll show it to you again. Some folks don't understand facts. Skull Unknown don't know the difference between facts and buffoonery. He's applauding buffoonery. Micah Parsons, there is no football player that would tell you that Derrick Henry wouldn't have helped the Dallas Cowboys this year win at least 2 to 3 more games. There is no football mind that'll tell you that unless someone is blinded by ignorance and their hate for Dak Prescott. When Micah Parsons says he'll take less, look at these numbers again. Let's not be fooled by Micah Parsons. What do you mean you don't have to be the highest paid? What, you'll take $160 million? As if that's not going to do something to the cap? You think that, okay, so you're trying to fool the fan base into hating on Dak while applauding you as the hero for taking less money because you love the team. Meanwhile, everything you says shows in actuality you love yourself more than the team. In actuality, you're really playing games because you're saying you don't have to be the highest paid. How about this? Tell me you don't have to be the 5th highest paid. Then I'm listening. Tell us you don't have to be the 5th highest paid. Tell us that. Tell us that you're willing to go below Myles Garrett. Tell us that. You start telling us you're willing to take Montez Sweat money. You start telling us you'll take Rashawn Gary money. You start telling us you'll take Max Crosby money. Now we're going to give you some applause, bro. Cowboys fans, some of us are so delirious when it comes to these contracts, and we only listen to what the media and the Joneses say, and then we start saying dumb things like, yeah, man, we're going to be salary cap strapped. We don't have no salary cap because of Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. You don't know and will not do research on freely available public knowledge. They've already built it into Dak Prescott's contract. They've already built in the void years. They've already built in the void years or where they're going to kick the money and they're going to make Dak Prescott's salary less impactful the way everyone else does it too. Everybody's doing it. There's a reason why Jerry Jones said that we can do the salary cap better. You think? I don't even know the salary cap and I can do it better than what the Joneses have been doing it. Just by looking at internet information. CeeDee Lamb's contract, they've already built in the void years. The Cowboys can accumulate easily with the flip of 5 switches, $100 million. Dak Prescott's contract, flip the switch. CeeDee Lamb's contract, flip the switch. Micah Parsons' contract, go ahead and give him a contract. You can save money this year and the next 3 to 4 years. Flip the switch. Terrence Steele, cut him. Flip the switch on it. Both the safeties, cut them. Flip the switch. Automatically, you get $100+ million. Automatically. You don't even have to, it's not even an effort. You automatically get $100+ million. But so many of us were blinded by the media. And a lot of us don't realize we're getting caught up even in these crazy players. I don't see how anybody could defend this stuff. It's crazy. And Keek, you're right. I'm going to tell you something. They mess around and make this man the 2nd highest paid, because I don't think they're going to make him the highest paid anyway. But if they mess around and make him the 2nd highest paid, we better get ready as a fan base. He'll be out of control by then. There will not be anyone like D-Law or anybody else that can tell this man to shut the F up. There'll be nobody to tell him. There'll be nobody that'll be able to tell him. They'll tell him and he won't listen. The way this man is talking, he's already, people don't understand how much of a megaton bomb he is. This man will be causing problems for Matt Eberflus. He'll be causing problems for Brian Schottenheimer. He'll be causing problems for everyone because he'll be able to go directly to the owner. I'm telling you, this thing needs to be stopped, and it needs to be stopped now. It does. Let me read a couple of more of your comments. Appreciate the super chat. Brandon Dad said, good evening, Unc. Let me drop this here as far as Dak and possibility of Henry. Dak is 66-18 when he has a run game. Yes, sir. I mentioned this stat last night. I mentioned it in a video I just released this week. Dak Prescott is 66-18 with a running game. What do we think he would be with Derrick Henry? You want to know how Jalen Hurts got over the hump? He went to the first Super Bowl and didn't win it, and went to this Super Bowl and did win it. And even though Saquon Barkley didn't run for 100 yards, he did something even better. And Kellen Moore did something even better, something that I wish he would have did in Dallas. Saquon Barkley ran 27 times for 57 yards and only ran for 2.5 yards per carry, and I don't even remember him getting a touchdown. Saquon Barkley played his role. He ran the ball, but he didn't dominate with his yards, but they dominated with the run game. They just kept running him. They said, Kansas City, you said you're going to stop Saquon Barkley. Well, we're going to oblige you. We're going to keep running and make you stop Saquon Barkley. Meanwhile, you'll have no answer for Jalen Hurts. How do you think Jalen Hurts caught Devontae Smith streaking down the seam towards the middle on a beautiful bomb? How do you think he did that? You think it's because Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league? No, that's not how he did it. The Kansas City Chiefs were so committed to stopping the run. And once you keep running the ball, it doesn't matter if you're not popping 60-yard runs. It's just the fact that you have the potential to do it. And it's the fact that you have the unmitigated gall. Do y'all know the Philadelphia Eagles had the unmitigated gall to keep on running Saquon Barkley, and he barely got 60 yards. How many teams will do it? The Buffalo Bills played the Kansas City Chiefs. What they do? They gave up on the run game. The Baltimore Ravens played the Buffalo Bills. They gave up on the run game. You look at the Detroit Lions. They played the Los Angeles Rams. What did they do? They gave up on the run game. Why get the run game if you're going to give up on it? And if a team is going to say, we're going to stop you from running, then keep on running. Because then they're going to keep on trying to stop the run. You don't relent because they stopped the run game. I said it and I'll say it again. You don't run the ball to have a dominant run game. You run the ball to dominate the game. Philadelphia dominated the game. T.O.P. Time of possession. Keep running. Crack that defensive line. Crack it. Make those cornerbacks keep looking in the backfield. Make those safeties keep looking in the backfield. Make those linebackers have to make a step when you do a play action. Make them have to freeze for a moment. Especially since they already have 7 dropped in coverage. You make them come out of that shell 7 coverage. You make them come out of it. You make them start bringing down a safety. You make them bring those linebackers closer to the line of scrimmage. You make them say, if you're going to stop the run, then we're going to keep on running. And it don't matter if we don't get 100 yards. It don't matter if we don't get 60 or 70 yards. You're going to have to stay committed to stopping that run. And when you do it, all I need is 20 quality throws. I don't need 25. I don't need 30. All I need is 20. And I'm going to catch you sleeping on at least 12 to 13 of those throws. Because before you know it, the ball will already be in the air. You're playing the run. Now all you can do is react. You don't get to make plays on the ball when you're playing the run. You don't get to do that. Y'all do know that, right? Cornerbacks don't get to sit back and make plays on the ball because they're still trying to play the run. They're trying to look at the receiver, look in the backfield. Look at the receiver, look in the backfield. And while they're looking, every time they look over, that wide receiver is getting to his spot. He's making his break. He's making his comeback. He's wide open. They can't even respond. That back shoulder fade to A.J. Brown should have never been completed. It wasn't that was a great pass. The fact the run was working so well, the cornerback couldn't even react to the pass first because he's still thinking about the run. You can't tell me Derrick Henry wouldn't help this team. It's ludicrous. Anybody who says something like that, they are delusional. And if the Baltimore Ravens would have kept running the ball with Derrick Henry, they would have had a different outcome with the Buffalo Bills. Who cares if they're stopping you? Keep running. I don't care. If I'm the offensive line, I'm telling the OC, hey, hold on a second, man. Let's keep running the ball. They're stopping the run. Yeah, but we would do better still trying to run the ball now rather than letting this rabid defense pin their ears back and get after Lamar Jackson. Duh. Keep running it. Keep running it. First, second down, I don't care. Keep running it. When you got Derrick Henry, you will crack that line eventually. You'll crack it. Impatience will destroy you. It will destroy you. And you think about the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't do what they did in the Super Bowl before. They didn't do what they did. They didn't keep running the ball. They didn't do what they did against the 49ers. They didn't let Pacheco loose. Y'all remember Pacheco getting loose on the 49ers? He didn't get loose on the Eagles. The Eagles put them in desperation mode almost immediately. Got to keep running the ball. Oh, because you got Patrick Mahomes, we got the best quarterback in the league, we'll let him keep on dropping back. Well, dropping back against the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're done. And this is how the Cowboys are going to have to counteract the Eagles next year. You better get your run game. You better get your run game. This is how they're going to have to counteract the Commanders. They better get a run game. I'm telling you, Dan Quinn got plenty of salary cap space. Dan Quinn is about to go into this free agency. We don't even know what he's going to do in the draft, but I can tell you what he's going to do in the free agency. He got two players. He got two players on the radar, I guarantee you. Myles Garrett is probably number, and I wouldn't even say Myles Garrett is number one. I think Myles Garrett is number two. The person we have to be concerned about driving up the price on Osa Odigizua is none other than Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is going to be the one that's probably going to drive the price up on Osa Odigizua. I will not be surprised. The moment free agency hit, you're going to hear about Dan Quinn after Osa Odigizua. Because Myles Garrett, I wouldn't actually be after Myles Garrett as my first. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't be after him, but I'm going to have to give up something to get Myles Garrett. I'm going to have to give up some draft picks to get Myles Garrett. I'm going to have to eat that large salary. I don't have to give up any draft picks to get Osa Odigizua. None. I don't have to give up nothing. He's an unrestricted free agent. I don't have to trade away draft capital. He'll be there for the picking. Hey, Cowboys are cheap. Here you go. We'll offer you $20 million a year. Okay, see you later. We better get a run game. We better get focused on fixing this offensive line. Figure out if we're going to keep Zach Martin. Figure out what we're going to do in left tackle. And I don't think we need to go in the draft for a left tackle. I don't want the Cowboys. I've seen some of these mock drafts. The Cowboys are going to tick me totally off if they go in the first two rounds trying to get an offensive lineman. I'm going to be furious. No, you go get that offensive lineman. Go get you a left tackle in free agency. There will be some good to great left tackle free agents out there. Go get one. Go get one. You need veteran presence as well as you need rookies or young players on a team. Some positions you can't help it. And left tackle to me is one of those ones, unless you find a super stud, hey, you go out there and get you a left tackle in this doggone free agency. D. Kills or Michael ain't even top 15. What does it matter what he say? Never won us a game off his work. So I don't I'm with you. I'm with you. And I think one of the things, D. Kizzle, I think one of the things the Cowboys front office is going to have to stop fearing once and for all. Stop fearing what a player is going to do if he leaves your team. Everybody deals with that. Sometimes you just got to weigh out the cost. Don't be afraid of a player leaving your team and going to another team and coming back to haunt you. Well, other players do it too. Look at the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley. It happens. The Tennessee Titans, it didn't really come back to bite them because Derrick Henry didn't win the Super Bowl. But in the grand scheme of things, you think about it. The only way for me that a player does bite me is they go to the Super Bowl. You take Kellen Moore. Dan Quinn doesn't bother me as much as Kellen Moore does. Kellen Moore is the one that bothers me if I'm the Cowboys. If I'm the Cowboys front office, that's the one that bothers me because I actually allowed Mike McCarthy to bully us and run him off. We allowed him to do that. And so for me, it's the Kellen Moore one. That's the one that bothers me. When you get players that go to the Super Bowl, those are the players that bother me. The other players, okay, I'm kind of like, man, you know what? Maybe could have did good for us, but we had to make a choice. He didn't win the Super Bowl. We got to learn to not be afraid of letting a player go. We do. We have to not be afraid. Frederick Johnson, 11 is a leader that can't control his tone. Exactly. And that's the worst kind of leader. Because no one will want to follow him. That's the problem. That's the problem. Nobody will want to follow him. Jameson, what's going on with you in the chat? Hope all is well with you. James Hill. Man, I'm telling you. Nisi said he gets signed, and as soon as he walks in that locker room, they need to beat him. They need to beat him with a sack of oranges. I'm telling you. Somebody got to get a hold of this dude, because if not, he going nuts. Lead our defense from being humiliated and disrespected. See, this is the problem with Micah Parsons. He's trying to lead too much by talking. He's not leading enough by example. And even when I look at him in the big games, he's not enough. And the reason why I think he's not enough is he's undersized. And he doesn't seem willing to play the position that he probably needs to play. I am very interested to see what he does with Matt Eberflus. Will Matt Eberflus bow down to him and do what Mike Zimmer did? I hope he doesn't. I hope Matt Eberflus tells Jerry, hey, man, this dude is either going to get on board or he's not. And if he's not going to get on board, Jerry, we need to look at moving him. If I was Brian Schottenheimer, I'd be saying the same thing. We need to look at moving him. He may not be the Herschel Walker trade, but he could be the Herschel Walker Jr. trade. You got to look at, you cannot see, people don't understand this. They used to tell me when I was a kid, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt. Whoever made that up lied. I've broken a collarbone. I've had a few injuries on my body. They've healed up. Sometimes I don't even remember them unless I see a scar on my body. And my collarbone, I kind of long forgot about that. But there are things that people have said to me I've never forgotten. And there are things that people have said to me in certain type of ways that while I forgive them, I still look at them sideways because I'm like, this is a person that can't be trusted. I look at what people say versus what they do. People do not understand the power of words. This is why you need to be careful what you say to people. Careful how you say things. People are listening. People get affected by words. This is one of the reasons why I don't use, of course, being a man of God, I don't do it. But even if I was not a preacher, I would not be a person using profanity. That's something you don't need to do. I know sometimes people get angry and they do it. But some people just use it in their everyday language. It's how they communicate. I don't communicate like that. Because I know those words can hurt people sometimes. And the things that Michael Parsons say, he thinks it's all fun and games. But it's not fun and games to people. Man, people take stuff to heart when you say dumb stuff. You don't get to say something about somebody that disparages them and then come behind closed doors and say, hey, man, I just did that for the cameras. You know what I'm saying? I just did that for the lights. No, man, I don't roll like that. Because that's telling me that you're the type of person, for your own glory, you're willing to put someone else down. You're willing to step on somebody. You're willing to put someone else in a bad light to put yourself in a good light. Now, I don't roll like that. I don't roll with people like that. Michael Parsons doesn't understand. Being a leader, you don't hear leaders doing a lot of talking. You see leaders leading by example, and then they do the talking when needed. Micah is dangerous. He doesn't even realize it. He's dangerous. And this thing he said with Derrick Henry, that's dumb. James Hill, I'm with you. I think Derrick Henry I think he still wants to come to the Cowboys. I'm with you. I think he still wants to come. I think he was not happy. I think he was saddened by the fact that Jerry didn't call him. Jose Otero, so sad how this team has turned. It is. It is. I'm telling you, the levels that they're sinking to. The levels they're sinking to. It's just sad when you think about it. It's sad. And Michael Parsons is up here trying to get laughs. And I love the fact that Derrick Henry, he got serious. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. James Hill, I'm with you. No, he wanted to play for the Cowboys, doggone it. No, I wouldn't have been spoiled. I wouldn't have been ruined. I would have did great with the Cowboys. I'd have ran my heart out with the Cowboys. A lot of people don't realize, people in this Dallas area, people in this East Texas area, it is a dream come true for them to play for the Dallas Cowboys. This is why Myles Garrett wants to play. Don't get Myles Garrett twisted. He wants to play for the Cowboys. I think, though, in Myles Garrett's mind, he understands something. But I'm talking about the cheap Dallas Cowboys. As much as I would like to play for the Cowboys, it's probably not a possibility. Because of the cheapness of the team. He knows this. He realizes it. But if you gave Myles Garrett an opportunity, I promise you he'd play for the Cowboys. He would love to come back home and play for the Dallas Cowboys. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he want to play for the Dallas Cowboys? So let me read a few more of your comments, and then we're going to turn to the next story on another player. We're going to turn to CeeDee Lamb. Keith Beacham. Yep, Derek tried to clean it up for him. Exactly. Man, nobody should be talking about their team like that. That's crazy talk. Skull Unknown is from the Marlon Brando School of Prescott Derangement Syndrome 8. Yes, sir. You're 100% right. Purple Soul, she said, I told folks that guy's in the locker room in front office been had problems with Micah and nobody was trying to hear me. Oh, I'm telling you, Purple Soul. I'm sorry. If I'm in the locker room, I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him. Let me read a couple of super chats here. JNY Blue, what's going on with you? Hey, I didn't see your super chat at the end of the stream on Tuesday. But if you checked out the video where I said the Cowboy fans talk, I actually highlighted you and shouted you out on the video. As a matter of fact, I took all of the super chats and I made those into a video, and I plan on doing the same thing tonight. Again, appreciate you for the super chat, JNY Blue. Yes, sir. I mentioned that in the video I did. A.J. Brown. The Eagles got A.J. Brown from the Titans. And I talked about the fact that people try to use the Titans as the issue about Michael Parsons mentioned that if he would have came to the Cowboys, it'd have been another Titan year. That's crazy talk. Titans wish they could have won 7 games and been close to the playoffs. No. The Titans were coming towards the end of the Mike Vrabel era. And they just started doing stupid stuff. The Cowboys actually could have got Derrick Henry, I think it would have been 2023. But they chose not to. But I think they could have got him then. But we can't go by what the Tennessee Titans did because they made some bad moves. They got rid of A.J. Brown, and then they kept Derrick Henry too long. They actually should have traded Derrick Henry a year earlier. Should have traded him to the Cowboys. Oh, we're not trading for – that was stupid. Why not get draft capital for Derrick Henry? I mean, we see what he looks like now. They really could have got something for him then. Alex in the career, appreciate you. Alex said if Rico got 235 carries and 1,000 yards, yes, sir, I just did the math. Imagine when he get a home run hitter behind Dak. Michael sounds foolish saying Henry wouldn't have made a difference. It's crazy, Alex. It's crazy. There is no football-minded person. There is no person in their wrong mind that would believe that Derrick Henry doesn't help the Dallas Cowboys. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And Derrick Henry is actually pointing it out. Rico Dowdle had a good year. He did. He actually helped them win some games. He did. So if he helped the Cowboys to get 7-10, there is no way you can tell me that Derrick Henry doesn't help this team to at least get to 9-8 or 10-7. I question whether or not Dak Prescott even gets hurt if Derrick Henry is the running back. I question the season. I question the season goes an entirely different way if Derrick Henry is here from the jump. Mitch Roman, appreciate you. Mitch Roman, I love what you said. He said, here we go. Missing Parsons is at it again. Yes, sir. Doesn't show up in the big games. Doesn't show up, hasn't showed up. No signature games. Haven't seen him do this stuff on the biggest stage. We see him typically do this against weaker teams. We typically dominate the divisional teams. So Micah Parsons, as much as people try to give Dak the bad rap and say, well, Dak wins against bad teams. What's Micah Parsons doing then? What's he doing? Because at least Dak is putting up numbers. Michael is putting up some numbers against the weak teams. But where is he against the good teams? Where is he down the stretch? Dro knows. What's going on? Dro knows says, we should pursue Nick Bolton in free agency. He's a real leader with rings, and someone will take control of that defense. Michael would bow down. Okay, tell me what position Nick Bolton plays, because I actually got something pulled up here. When you look at the edge rushers, for example, because I got this pulled up for a reason. As a matter of fact, I'll talk about it when we go to the mock drafts. We'll talk about that when we talk about the mock drafts. But yeah, we'll come back to what you said, Dro knows, and let me know what position he plays. JNY Blue, appreciate you again. Was Derrick Henry on a 1-year deal with the Ravens? If so, we need to go get him now. I think he signed a 2-year deal. And the crazy part is, JNY Blue, the deal that Derrick Henry signed, I want y'all to think about how backwards that Michael Parsons and Jerry Jones are. Let me tell you how backwards they are. So hold on a sec. So did we get Ezekiel Elliott to help us or to hurt us? What did we get him for? So Jerry didn't think that Ezekiel Elliott could actually help the Cowboys? Make that move make sense. Why would we get Ezekiel Elliott if he couldn't help us? But then say we didn't get Derrick Henry because he couldn't help us? Tell me which universe that someone looks at Zeke, and no disrespect to Zeke, Zeke just doesn't take care of himself the way Derrick Henry does. Derrick Henry's a freak of nature, but he also takes care of himself. Michael Parsons even mentions in that particular interview about the way this dude, Derrick Henry, takes care of his body. Michael Parsons works out with him in the offseason. I mean, this dude is a physical freak. But he doesn't just rest on being a physical freak. He actually works on his body. Just like, if there's one thing I'll give LeBron James credit for, LeBron James works on his body. He's already a physical freak, but he spends $1 million a year on his body. And Derrick Henry spends a ton of money on his body to stay in shape. So, you're telling me we didn't bring Zeke in to help us? But then we say if bringing in Derrick Henry wouldn't help us? It don't make sense. It don't make sense in no universe. Jerry did bring Zeke on. He was supposed to help in the locker room. But he was also supposed to help on the field. And for all intents and purposes, I got to be honest with you, I was not happy when they made the move. But when I saw him in the Cleveland game, I was like, hold on a second. Zeke still got something in him. But for whatever reason, Mike McCarthy went nuts. Mike McCarthy goes nuts, and it was like, no, I don't want to use Zeke. Because, again, Zeke could not be in my running back rotation. But I can use Zeke goal line. I can use Zeke maybe in the screen game. I could use Zeke in the passing game. I can use Zeke in various ways. Zeke can still pick up blocks really well. I can use Zeke in various ways. But to try to put him into the running back by committee, they misuse Zeke. But still, you're telling me you brought Zeke on to help, but you're saying Derrick Henry, who's in much better shape, a lot more left in the tank, and you're telling me he couldn't help? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. 03, appreciate the super chat.
Yes! Here we go!
03, it don't make sense, do it? It does not make sense. He says, why doesn't the fan base crucify Parsons as much as Dak? You know why? Think about it. Because the media doesn't crucify Michael Parsons the way that it crucifies Dak. The owner doesn't say dumb things about Michael Parsons like he says about Dak. He doesn't say things like the defense only goes as far as Michael Parsons takes the defense. He don't say that stuff. He don't say the defense is only as good as Michael Parsons going to be. He don't say that stuff. He don't say that we only go as far as Michael Parsons is going to take us. He doesn't say that stuff. When it comes even to the media. Now, some of them do talk about Michael Parsons. But then you get others like Jimmy who have the audacity to say, well, I wouldn't have signed Dak Prescott. Well, he's saying he wouldn't have signed him at the beginning of the season. He would have made him play it out, and then he would have signed him. But then he says, you don't trade a player like Michael Parsons. I'm telling y'all, stop believing Jimmy. You're not watching the same Jimmy Johnson, y'all. Because with Jimmy Johnson, he was no holds barred. He was no holds barred on any and every player. Dave One Stat reported. Jimmy Johnson told Troy Aikman to his face, you can't be a starting quarterback on the Cowboys and turn the ball over, because Troy Aikman was a turnover machine. He told him straight up, you cannot be the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and turn the ball over. People don't understand the Herschel Walker trade. You can't get the Herschel Walker trade unless a lot of people wanted Herschel Walker. Folk don't understand, man. Herschel Walker was a freak athlete. A freak athlete. He was off the chain at Georgia. He was off the chain in the USFL. He was really good when he came to the pros. And the Cowboys were genius. So many folks wanted him, they traded him. And they built a dynasty on the back of Herschel Walker. People don't understand what you can do when you get first-round draft picks for someone. Let's just say for Michael Parsons. Let's just say you were to get 2 first-round draft picks. You not only got 2 first-round draft picks, let's say you got a 2. Well, you could easily take one of those first-round draft picks and trade back and get 2 number 2s. And now, rather than 1 number 2, you got 3 number 2s. You can do all kinds of things when you get these first-round draft picks. You can turn these things into multiple draft picks. You can do a lot of things for your team when you get a player that's worth three trades. You can. And so it makes me wonder, I mean, what value would Michael Parsons bring? But 03, I'm with you. Why doesn't the fan base do this to Michael Parsons? I'm telling you, a part of it is because of how the fan base and the owner and the media, well, the media and the owner, how they treat Dak Prescott versus how they treat Michael Parsons. Now, a lot of people are mad at Warren Sapp. But when Warren Sapp was asked about Michael Parsons being a great pass rusher, Warren Sapp got up and walked off because the guy sitting there made up a lie. Oh, he gets 15 sacks a season. Warren Sapp, see, people don't understand. Some of these players don't play that game. You don't think these guys who are greats, they look at stats. They look at players. Even during the season, Derrick Henry, you don't think he's paying attention to what guys are doing? That's why when he asked the question, he was so easily, he gave a easily available answer. He's like, hold on a second, Mike Parsons. You know what, man? You saying something crazy right now. You saying that I would have been ruined, but Rico Dowdle was fine. Even he pointed out how silly it was, what Michael Parsons said. And Alex asked the question, JNY Blue asked before you, he says about the Derrick Henry deal. Here it is. Derrick Henry signed a 2-year, and it's a 3-year deal. But the issue is the 3rd year is a void year. So the issue is they can get out of this deal 2025, 1 year, $11 million, a $3.8 million dead cap hit. So they can actually save money if it's a post June 1st release. It would be $3 million in dead cap money and $9 million in savings. We're about to see. We're going to see what the Baltimore Ravens are going to do. If it's a post June 1st trade, it's a $3.8 million cap hit and another $9 million savings. So the Baltimore Ravens, y'all, can save $9 million. They can save $9 million trading or cutting Derrick Henry from what I'm reading. So you think about this, and it makes sense. Now, let me ask you a question. You think about this. So, there are some great running backs in this draft. Now, if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I really got to start weighing out what happened this past season. We didn't win with Derrick Henry. The Baltimore Ravens, everybody keeps talking about Dak Prescott. The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills are in a conundrum. At least with the Dallas Cowboys, we can truly say that Dak Prescott has not had the teams Jalen Hurts has had, the teams that Jared Goff has had, the teams even Lamar Jackson has had. I mean, people don't understand it, but quietly Lamar Jackson has been on some absolutely great teams. This past team, I don't understand it. There cannot be an excuse. There cannot be an excuse. An absolute great team. So the question becomes, you got Derrick Henry. Do you try to run it back one more year? Do you run it back one more year with Derrick Henry? Or do you cut Derrick Henry and say we're done with it? What do you do? And I'm trying to figure out this contract again. Let me look at this again. Okay, so it is saying that if they cut him, let me make sure. So either way, if they cut him, they saved $9 million if I'm reading this right. Y'all tell me, I think I'm seeing this right. If they cut him, it's a $9 million cap savings. So the question becomes, will they try to renegotiate this deal to where they could push money into another year or two, maybe extend them a couple of years, push this money into another year and a void year? Or do they save the money on Derrick Henry? Because it looks like they can basically save, because it says the total guaranteed is $9 million. So it looks like, for all intents and purposes, they could save $9 million if they let him go. Derrick Henry could be a free agent again. He could. Derrick Henry could be a free agent again. And I'll tell you this, if Derrick Henry is a free agent again, the Cowboys ought to go get him and still get a running back in the first round. Have both of them. I would love to see a veteran presence and a rookie running back. Somebody that can teach a young running back the ropes while still being a dominant running back. Baltimore Ravens got a decision to make. They do, because this draft is loaded with running backs. They could easily cut Derrick Henry and go in this draft and get another running back, because Derrick Henry didn't get you to where you wanted to be. So the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to figure out, what's the combination? What can they put? What can they put around around Lamar Jackson that's going to get him to the Super Bowl? Because now the Philadelphia Eagles have given us the blueprint, which is really not a blueprint per se. Okay, go get your defensive line that Patrick Mahomes can't stand in front of. I mean, get your defensive line and then you could crack this whole AFC. And this is why teams are going to have to do something about the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to do something about the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're going to have to do something about the Washington Commanders. JNY Blue with 2 super chats in a row. Appreciate you. $9.99 and $4.99. Yes, sir. JNY Blue says, I agree 100%. Dak is not going to run the ball. Michael just sounds dumb. When he talks, he graduated from Penn State. He can't be that dumb. I think he doesn't think before he speaks. He doesn't. And Derrick Henry, whether we realize it or not, Derrick Henry is showing us too that Micah Parsons don't talk football, especially, it seems. He talks football sometimes, but it's like when he gets to his own team is where he gets tone deaf. He doesn't talk football when it comes to his own team, and that to me is dangerous. Because that's the very thing that Chris Canty was talking about. I'll read you Chris Canty's statement, and then we'll move on for Micah Parsons because we got to get to CeeDee Lamb. JNY Blue, Jimmy Johnson is becoming senile in his old age, ! I'm telling y'all, what we're watching right now is not the same Jimmy Johnson. It's not the same. It's not the same. And I think FS1 is even looking at, okay, are we going to keep Jimmy Johnson or not? Because we got to understand something. What is he really bringing to the table as far as analysis goes, other than his credibility of being the ex-Super Bowl winning Dallas Cowboy coach? Because if anyone is being honest with themselves, Jimmy Johnson isn't giving us like excellent analysis of games and stuff. No, we like his opinion. We like his opinion more than his analysis in a sense. We like his opinion. And that's the part we need to understand. So let me let you see. I got a video I released today if you haven't checked it out. Let me read you Chris Canty's comments on Micah Parsons. And then we're going to move on to CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb did something kind of crazy too. Okay, so it looks like as we were speaking, we'll stay on Micah Parsons for a moment. Looks like there has been some stuff that has come down about Micah Parsons since we've been on the chat. Okay, so we'll look at that in a moment. Let me see if I can find this thing here. They've been updating the site so much, and of course, like I said, it's always so much drama with the Cowboys. Let me just look the article up. But Chris Canty basically says that the Cowboys need to trade Micah Parsons. And the crazy part is, it's the reason why he's saying it. Look at what he says. Chris Canty says, I'm about to say something that goes against everything I believe. He knows Micah Parsons is a good to great player. He does. But it's his talking. And it's strange to me how fans want people to put up with his talking. It's detrimental to the team. He says, I can't believe I'm going here. I can't believe I'm about to say this. The Dallas Cowboys need to trade Micah Parsons. Canty said on Tuesday morning's Unsportsmanlike. Why are you saying this? Canty cites Parsons' off-the-field behavior as the reason. He said, you don't get closer to winning championships by getting rid of those players, typically, Canty said. But when you got somebody that has been as vocal as he has, that has at various points got himself into trouble with his podcast, saying certain things about his teammates, about the league, leaving guys out of lists when it comes to top-rated quarterbacks. Now, one thing I can say about Chris Canty, he's being honest right here because anybody who's ever watched Chris Canty on Unsportsmanlike, he is not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. But even he sees problems with what Micah Parsons does as it pertains to teammates, saying things that teammates have to answer for, leaving his quarterback out of the quarterback discussion, who just came off of a second-team All-Pro, even though I understand people said, well, he was talking about at the moment. No, bro, you got to learn the room. Hey, the number one quarterback in the league to me is my quarterback. But I'm biased, so I won't put him on the list. That's understanding the room. That's understanding the team. That's emotional intelligence. Rather than you trying to wear two hats. Oh, I'm a TV broadcaster, professional podcaster. Oh, and I'm a football player. No, man, you're on a team. You don't do things that make that your team has to answer for. He says, look, there's an opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason to show the rest of the locker room that our culture matters. Man, this man just said, if you want to change the culture, send a message with Micah Parsons. Wow. Wow. There it is. He said also Dallas doesn't have leaders on the current roster. I don't believe that. I think the problem is we got a person like Micah Parsons that we are allowing to overshadow the leader on the team. I'm sorry. I take Darren Woodson's word over many people. Darren Woodson clearly said it. The one person that I know that is committed is Dak Prescott. He said 2 weeks after the season, when I look out my office, I see 4 on the field. All the D time, he said. I see 4 on the field. He's dedicated. Michael is dedicated to talking. Dak is dedicated to doing. But I think Dak, over these next 4 years, Dak is going to have to dedicate some of his time to talking and telling some of these players to shut up. Do your job. No more subliminal messages through the media. Step to them. Tell them. This isn't about you. This is about the team. Jackie Smith, she said, remember, the entire league said Dallas had an advantage. It's not fair that they get all the best players. Stop falling for the tomfoolery. For real. For real. If we listen to the media, we have the best players every year. It's not true. And even if we have some of the best players, we don't have the best team. Carlos Gill, I'm with you. No player is bigger than the team. Not one. James Manhattan, he said Michael needs to be traded. He's not fully on board with the Cowboys. I don't think so either. Talks way too much. Not thinking before he opens his mouth. Exactly. The defense was scared of Barkley, but not Hurts. Hurts did his part. That's it. And that's why the Eagles, James, they were genius. Okay, Kansas City, you're gonna dedicate your defense to stopping the run? We're gonna oblige you. We're gonna keep running. Too many teams, when the team starts stopping the run, they stop running. No, you keep running. You make them continue to dedicate their defense to stopping the run so you can get some play action working. Yes, sir. Let's stop Saquon. Okay, cool. Play action time. No doubt. That's how Devontae Smith got wide open down the middle of that seam. Wide open. Got them safeties peeking in the backfield. Yes, sir, Dro knows. What's good with you? Yes, sir. Our fan base would be beautifully served if we could stop blaming Dak for everything that happens here in Dallas. Yes, no doubt, Jackie Smith. No doubt. You just said a mouthful there. Marvin Brown, the Eagles won that game running the ball, and number 19 got to the quarterback plenty of time. You know what they did, Marvin? You just hit it on the head. They controlled both lines of scrimmage. I keep telling folk, just because you're not getting 100 yards rushing does not mean you're not controlling the offensive line of scrimmage. Yes, you are. Because you're making them still dedicate people to stopping the run. And the more resources they have to dedicate to stopping the run, the less resources they have to stop the pass. And Jalen Hurts, all he needed, this is what I want them to do for Dak Prescott. When you can run the ball, now rather than your quarterback being Superman, hey man, be Dak Prescott. All we need you to do is make about 12 or 13 throws. Everything else will be gravy. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. Dro Knowles said football is a game of inches and seconds. For the play action pass to work, all you need is for the linebackers and the safeties to hesitate. That's why they have to be committed to running the football. That's what I said. Man, if you're a safety, my son used to play safety. And one of the things you have to tell all these safeties, because they love to come down and thump. Be careful peeking in the backfield. All it takes is one glimpse in the backfield. And if they're running a go route up the seam and you're the man that's supposed to hold the go route, you're done. You're done, because now you got to turn and try to get your full speed going. Well, he's off the line. You're done. That safety was done when Devontae Smith hit down that seam. It was over for him. The moment he locked them feet, it was over. It was over. The fan must be united. I said this other night, Jackie Smith, you're right. Our division has kept us from achieving. We have to be united. We must apply pressure. Let them know what they have done. Still not good enough. We want free agents. Yes. And we have to be united on our quarterback. Michael Parsons is not holding the ball in his hand even 20, not even 10, not even 2% of the time. We're lucky if he gets his hand on the ball. We got to build this team. And to build on defense is to still build this team and to build around a quarterback. We got to get him everything we can. Stop talking about what he's not. Talk about what he is. Niecy said he said the Cowboys would have ruined him. Rico was good. Lipke was fine. Zeke was done with. So who is Michael referred to? Niecy. I'm telling you, it's crazy when you think about this stuff. Michael does not realize how crazy he sounded. And that's why I love the fact that Derrick Henry, big ups to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry really corrected him. He did. Marvin Brown said, now everybody's going to copy what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. It was a low rating. Not every seat was filled. Marvin Brown, they are lying about this Super Bowl left and right. They are lying about this Super Bowl left and right. And nobody, please, I hope y'all not believing these numbers they're giving. There is no way that this was one of the most watched Super Bowl. No disrespect to Kendrick Lamar. This isn't about Kendrick Lamar. You're not telling me, I'm not believing that Kendrick Lamar performance was more spectacular and more anticipated than Michael Jackson. I'm not believing this stuff. It's crazy. This stuff is crazy they're making up. They're saying this because they know this Super Bowl actually was a down year. It was. And that's nothing against the teams. That's nothing against the fans of those teams. No, it just, the Super Bowl wasn't what they say it is. But I bet you this, they get the Dallas Cowboys in one of these Super Bowls, this league will explode. They will. This league will explode. Niecy said, gee, the Giants and OBJ and Saquon both got rings with other teams. Yep. 100%. Yep. 100%. There's no getting around it. And, you know, someone said something that I thought was very brilliant. A guy was talking about the comment that Dak Prescott made about he didn't see anything wrong with the comment Dak Prescott made saying that the Cowboys were not far off. I've done a video about it also, and they are not as far off as people think they are. Dak Prescott has owned the NFC East. There's no getting around it. But he said something about the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys. Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. He said, contrary to what people understand, those teams were not expected to be in the NFC Championship game nor the Super Bowl. If you would have asked anybody at the beginning of the season, they would have told you the Detroit Lions were going to the Super Bowl. But the Detroit Lions got decimated by injuries. And because they got decimated by injuries, because I believe the Detroit Lions, before injury, they were arguably the best team in the NFC and the best team in the league. But they got decimated by injuries. And so they couldn't even overcome, and Jared Goff betrayed them. Because, and in some respects, if you listen to the Detroit Lions content creators, if you listen to them, they're singing a different story too. They're not only saying that Jared Goff betrayed the Detroit Lions, they're saying Ben Johnson betrayed the Detroit Lions. Because they're saying, why didn't Ben Johnson run the ball more? Why did he put the game in the hands of Jared Goff? And if you think about it, that's what he did. He put the game in the hands of Jared Goff. And Jared Goff betrayed him with wild overthrows. It wasn't even quarterback pressures. The wide receiver pass that he threw, I think it was a wide receiver pass. So there's not something in that play that you say, hey, if it's not open, don't throw it. There's not something that throws that. I forgot to charge my lights up, so it's all good. But I'm telling us, they were the best team, I believe, in the league. Like he's saying, no one knew that the Washington Commanders, no one in their wildest dreams would have thought that Dan Quinn was going to get to the NFC Championship game. And when you think about the Washington Commanders, they don't even have necessarily a super team. I don't even think they're close, but Jaden Daniels is going to understand something next year. They had a soft schedule, and number two, they didn't have tape on Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is going to be in for a rude awakening next season. Because if anybody pays attention, man, the Cowboys got after him, and in the 2 games they played Washington, the Cowboys got after him. People are going to go back. They're going to watch tape. They're going to look at the teams that stopped him. One of the teams that stopped him was the Dallas Cowboys. We may not realize it. Cooper Rush, as crazy as that game was, Mike Zimmer, and with Cooper Rush, the Dallas Cowboys won that first game. An amazing run by Kevontae Turpin. They won that first game. And the second game, y'all, Trey Lance and Jaden Daniels was in the first half of that game. And Dan Quinn said he took him out specifically because he was getting knocked around. Again, Mike Zimmer had figured out how to get to Jaden Daniels. Why wouldn't Dak say we can compete? Dak is saying, doggone it, we beat them once without me and then almost twice without me. I've owned the Commanders. And even in the Super Bowl season in, 2023, I'm thinking it was. I think it was 2022. The Cowboys still dealt with the Eagles. No, it's not like the Eagles ripped through the Cowboys. We are a lot better than what people understand. And we're not as far off as people understand. The thing I love about this league, Justin, who is this? He says, I love what he says here. Jalen Battle says, so everybody Eagle blank riders now. Now, I love something that you're saying because, watch this. The thing I love about this league, though, Jalen, what you do this year won't work next year. These defensive coordinators, they go home and they watch the whole season all over again. They watch the whole season. They watch plays. They watch players. And they look at other teams when they couldn't figure out things and they say, how did they stop this player? Well, y'all might not realize it, but as it applies to the Commanders, we don't have to go any further than our own tape. As it pertains to the Philadelphia Eagles, we can go back to the tape of our first game against the Eagles. Where did that game go off the rails? I mean, we pretty much knew. The second game, I didn't even have any hope. I knew they were going to blow us off the field. But in the first game, we can go back and look at our own tape and say, we had a chance. Had it not been for an Ezekiel Elliott fumble on the goal line. Had it not been for CeeDee Lamb, the sun in his face, on the goal line. We were actually in the game. And had it not been for Cooper Rush, who the Eagles are his doggone kryptonite, had it not been for him turning the ball over, the Cowboys probably could have beat the Eagles this year at home. This year. Do we not remember? We also stopped Saquon Barkley. Go back and check the tape. Mike Zimmer shut Saquon Barkley down the first game. Shut him down. Jalen Hurts was the problem in the second game. And even when you look at the Jalen Hurts problem, the first game, the problem with Jalen Hurts in the first game was the turnovers, and we gave him short fields. But had we not done that, we probably would have beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home too. So we don't have to go very far to look at tape and see what we did and things that we did wrong and things that we did right. We can look at some of these things on our own team. Byron Joe David, Byron Joe David, what's going on? Byron Joe said, let's trade Parsons to the Browns for Garrett. It'll be punishment for running his mouth. He'll see what it's like to play for a real trash team. Man, you better believe it, bro. Man, you better believe it. DC Trucker, what's going on? He said, why y'all never add that Dak is the oldest quarterback in the East and has been there the longest? That's actually true. But think about this, DC. But that's actually not a bad thing. Dak has entered the point of his career that when a quarterback gets the opportunity to be at this point in his career, Dak Prescott, DC, has entered the point of his career to where he's seen almost everything. And when quarterbacks get to that point in their career, the field looks totally different. And Dak Prescott talked about this. Dak Prescott mentioned, he said, I'm seeing the field better than I've ever seen it before. He's right. Because you get to the point that no one can throw anything new at you. So when you get to that point, and if your quarterback is still playing good, it's a good time to have him. Because there are going to be some things now you're going to be able to do that you couldn't do when he was younger, things that you can't do with a younger quarterback, things that you can put in a game plan and say, the only way this works is if this person is cerebral. Dak Prescott has hit that level. Dak Prescott has hit that level. And I think Dak's going to be fine. Y'all watch what I tell you. I said this in 2023. I'm saying it again. As long as Dak Prescott stays healthy, we have nothing to worry about. If Dak Prescott stays healthy, and he did for 3 of the 2 seasons, I think if they get him a running game, we'll definitely have nothing to worry about, and I know they're going to get him a running game. As long as Dak is healthy, we have nothing to worry about. This team's going to win. We don't even have to worry about it. Book it. This team is going to absolutely win. And it's not only going to win, this team is going to win big. It's going to win some big games. But let me get to the Micah Parsons thing. I want to show y'all what let me get to the CeeDee Lamb thing. CeeDee Lamb is tripping too. I don't even get this thing with CeeDee Lamb. I get it, but I don't get it. They're obviously playing this Super Bowl. They're doing something at the Super Bowl. Some dumb game they're doing at the Super Bowl. And it's amazing to me that looks like Derrick Henry standing there again when another Dallas Cowboy is doing some dumb stuff. It says CeeDee Lamb throws major shade at Cowboys fans with Eagles praise. Have y'all seen this? Let me let you hear the audio on this. I don't even have to read it. It says, yikes. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb admits that the Eagles have a more passionate fan base than Dallas. This isn't what he said here.
Who has a more passionate fan base, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
I can answer that.
Eagles.
Eagles?
They're crazy. Our Cowboys, our fans are deep, but they not. I don't want to say nothing crazy, but the Eagles got it.
Now, we can take this as in he's not saying the fans are better. He said they're crazy. And so we can take this as he's not saying the fans are better than the Cowboys fans, but he's saying they're more passionate. That's a slippery slope to say that they're more passionate. Because while the Philadelphia Eagle fans are enjoying recent success, are they more passionate than the Dallas Cowboys fans who have experienced decades of success? Super Bowls in the 70s, towards the end. Super Bowls in the 90s. We've had decades of success. So for someone to say that the Eagles have more passion than the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know how you measure if any fan base has more passion than another fan base. But I can tell you now, just in the short time I've been doing this, man, Cowboy fans are passionate right now. And I think some of the Cowboy fans are even getting on the verge of being crazy. I don't know. I don't agree with this statement. I always laugh. Look at Derrick Henry. I think that is Derrick Henry, right? Look at the look on his face. I wonder what he thinks about these Cowboy players just be saying crazy stuff about their own team. Absolute crazy. Be saying crazy stuff about their own team. How you gonna say that another team fan base is more passionate than yours? JY Blue, appreciate it. Back-to-back super chats. JNY says, kudos to Detroit. They had 13 good players on injured reserve. They did. They just ran out of gas. Cowboys own the NFC East. You watched the rookie Shawty kick butt this year. Yeah, the Cowboys will be back. The Cowboys definitely will be back. He said, you're one of the best content creators. You're great. Oh, appreciate you, JNY Blue. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. We're gonna really get this thing turned up, man, as we get more towards the football season. Let me go back down here. Let me try to get down here. Let me try to get to the CeeDee Lamb portion. Let's see here. Let me get to my man Freddie. Let me see, Freddie. Freddie said Jimmy tried to make Walker a Walker-type trade. Yes, sir. He tried to make a Walker-type trade using Dan Marino in Miami, but the Miami owner at the time shut the idea down. And Freddie, that's why I don't believe when Jimmy says you don't trade Micah Parsons. I don't believe Jimmy would say that if he was younger. Because Jimmy would be looking at the multiplicity of players that he could probably get for one Micah Parsons. You could still get a great pass rush without Micah Parsons. I know, we got to understand, we got to stop thinking that an edge rusher in particular, that you can't replace an edge rusher. You can. You can replace an edge rusher. I think it's hard to replace the elite, but you can replace, at this point, Micah Parsons. You can, because we can't really name anything that he's done for the team at this point that we say, man, he's made a difference in this game. Robert M says, what's going on? He says, allegedly, Baltimore wants to extend and redo Henry's contract. That's the only way they're going to be able to keep him. Man, I'm telling you, I wish the Cowboys could get him. If the Ravens are one and done again, Henry may bounce. Man, I'm telling you. That's why I'm tripping on the fact, Micah Parsons can say anything he wants to say about Derrick Henry. But what more did Derrick Henry do for Baltimore than he did for the Titans? We saw the Titans go to playoff games and get bounced one and done. We saw that in Tennessee. So what was so special about him coming to Baltimore? I literally thought Baltimore was going to run over everybody in the AFC. But again, they gave up on the run too quick in the playoffs. They gave up in the run. Sean M. Shizzle. You know what? I do think what kind of hurt him was Jay Flowers. I think that's his name. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was not there. I think that hurt him. But at the same time, what he doesn't have in wide receivers, he does have in tight ends. And let's not forget, they tried the experiment of the wide receiver when they got him Odell Beckham Jr., even though we're not going to pretend like Odell Beckham Jr. was in his prime. But I can tell you this, boy, but when Odell Beckham Jr. went to the Rams, Odell Beckham Jr. was a major reason why they got back to the Super Bowl, or got to the Super Bowl. Odell Beckham Jr. was sick. He was sick, man. But it just seemed like Baltimore wasn't able to really turn him into anything. But got to ask yourself this too, Shizzle. A wide receiver that goes to Baltimore, they're going to have to accept the facts the way Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown does. We saw A.J. Brown's, we saw his frustration. Not even 4 or 5 games before the Super Bowl. A.J. Brown was flustered because he wants to get the ball. And a lot of wide receivers, they're divas. They don't want to come to a team to where they're only going to get maybe 5 or 6 opportunities at getting the ball in their hands. Because Lamar Jackson, especially if you leave Derrick Henry in the fold. Well, how many passes could that wide receiver get? Probably not going to get a lot because Lamar loves the tight ends. He got some great ones, too. They're not just good. He got some great tight ends over there. Let me see here. Got another super chat. Hold on a second. JNY Blue again. Appreciate you. 999 super chat.
Here we go.
Yeah, and I kind of get with you on that, JNY Blue, because I think the key phrase is he said crazy. But at the same time, you have to be able to think. Don't say that another fan base is more passionate, because I'll be honest with you. Here's my argument. I don't think there's a fan base in sports that's more passionate than the Dallas Cowboy fan base, because the Dallas Cowboy fan base is different to me than all the other fan bases. I remember, I've told this story before. I remember when I was young, my uncles used to say, there is no team like the Dallas Cowboys. You either love them or you love to hate them. And there have been people in my family, they hate the Cowboys, and they watch the games. Not so they can watch them win, but so they can watch them lose, so they can go on their jobs and tease the people who love the Dallas Cowboys. My father-in-law used to do this stuff. There were people this past week, last week I was asking, are you watching the Super Bowl? Oh, man, no. If the Dallas Cowboys are playing in the Super Bowl, even people who don't like football, they watch it because it's the Dallas Cowboys. People who don't like the Dallas Cowboys, they watch it. Why? Because they don't like the Dallas Cowboys. And the fans, they're watching the Dallas Cowboys. There is no fan base that consists of a fan base that loves to hate the team and a fan base that loves the team. The fan base of the other team, I mean, this is something totally different. It's understandable if the Eagles hate the Cowboys and the Cowboys fans hate the Eagles. But we're talking about a group of fans who don't even have a team. I got a friend that don't even like football, but hates the Cowboys. What other fan base is like that? You want to talk about crazy? I don't think there's a fan base crazier than the Cowboys fan base. I don't. We got about 25% part of the fan base that's absolutely toxic. And they will fight over the Cowboys. Not only will they fight over the Cowboys, they'll tear the Cowboys down and tell you who's the problem. We get these people all the time. They're fixated on Dak Prescott. And one of the things that has them fixated on Dak Prescott is their love, quote unquote, for the team. Their love, and you'll hear the Skip Baylesses of the world. He's one of the worst kinds of football, one of the worst kinds of Dallas Cowboy fans. He likes to call himself the greatest Dallas Cowboy fan while always tearing the team down because it doesn't look the way that he wants it to look. Yeah, we got some crazy fans too. Name me any team that is talked about in the media the way the Cowboys are. I mean, we get bad teams that don't get talked about as bad as the Cowboys get talked about when they're winning. They'll ignore bad teams to talk about the Cowboys even when they're winning. No, Michael Parsons, I understand, and I'm with you, JNY Blue. He might have got caught off guard, but at the end of the day, man, there is no greater fan base, no more passionate fan base, because we have to include it in its totality. There is no fan base more passionate than the Dallas Cowboys. Now they go on to say in here, it says that several fans in the comments on social media agreed with Lamb's remarks, with some even stating Cowboy fans would be passionate or more passionate if the team was more successful. Dallas went 7-10 this year and replaced head coach Mike McCarthy with offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, a hire most Cowboy fans agreed was underwhelming at best. Eagles fans have way more to be passionate about. They've won 2 Super Bowls, been to 3, and like 8 NFC title appearances in the last 25 years. Cowboys haven't made the NFC title game in like 28 years, one fan stated. There's nothing to be passionate about other than the good players. We haven't done blank to be passionate about. I also wouldn't call destroying your city passionate either, another remark. The passion of the fan base directly correlates to the team's success on the field, a third fan declared. It's kind of strange. It's kind of strange that people are saying stuff like this. Because I can remember before the Philadelphia Eagles started winning these Super Bowls, and their fan base was still passionate. I think about fan bases like the Detroit Lions. They're still passionate. I think about so many fan bases that haven't even won Super Bowls, and they're still passionate. They come back every single season with the hope that their team is going to win. I think one of the things that has happened to our team, I think one of the things that has happened to our fan base, we actually have an expectation to win. Even if we haven't won in 30 years, we have an expectation to win. And that expectation is none greater than by the fan base. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are so, we're even saying some of these things. Me, I'm riding for the team. I'm a ride or die fan. As much credit as I gave the Eagles this year. And I wanted to see the Eagles win because I wanted something to light a fire up under Jerry Jones. Because I realized that the media wasn't enough. The fan base wasn't enough. We needed more. We needed more ammunition. We needed more ammunition to break the Cowboys front office. And I feel like the Eagles have given us more ammunition to break the front office. And I think we got to keep applying pressure. And we got to keep applying pressure to the point that as this free agency come up, because we're getting to the free agency before we get to the draft. We have got to put massive pressure on the Cowboys that you better do something in free agency. You need to use all the tools. We don't want to hear anything else about the draft. We've drafted well in the past. Drafting well isn't good enough. Where teams keep besting us is not the fact that they draft better than us. They're besting us because they're doing better in free agency than we are. These teams keep getting players that make huge differences in their season. I mean, we could go back. I mean, starting with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got Tom Brady. Took a team that Jameis Winston threw 30-plus interceptions with the year before and made two moves. Tom Brady, Antonio Brown. And tore the league up. It does not take as much as people think sometimes. And you think about the Philadelphia Eagles. They did some things in the draft, did a couple things in free agency, but the biggest thing they did in free agency was bring in Saquon Barkley. We can do it too. The only reason why, if we don't do it this year, the only reason why we don't do it is because we don't want to do it. It'll be the only reason. There's no other explanation other than we don't want to. The Joneses have no excuse. Don't let them sell us on the salary cap. We're tired of that argument. I've already given us the examples. The Dallas Cowboys can so easily go in there and flip switches, and even Jerry Jones verified it. He said the fans are right. Yes, it's true. We can go in and flip a couple of switches on these contracts. They're already built into the contracts. All they have to do is flip those switches, and this team gets $100+ million in salary cap space. Do it. Stop talking about it. Do it. Go and play in free agency. First things first, get all the players you want to get signed, sign them. Sign Odiggy Zoo if you're going to sign him. If not, let him know up front we're not signing you. Okay, now we know where we are in the draft. Terrence Steele, bro, we cutting you. Let him know up front in free agency so he can go ahead and get him a deal work, whatever the case may be. We know where we are. We know what money we're going to have to be able to do what we're going to do. Zach Martin, you either staying or going. If we're keeping Zach Martin, let's keep him. If not, Zach, we're letting you go too. We need to know all of these things so that as we hit free agency, first day, let's take care of all of our deals and then get the wheeling and dealing. First day. Let everybody know March the 10th. Let all the players know who you're not going to sign. Let them know we're not signing you. Go ahead and start getting deals in line, getting deals in place. We're not signing you. So you can also know the money you're going to have. Get deals in place so that as soon as that clock hits on March the 12th, sign all the signatures, got it done. Everybody's ready to go into now the draft. And you'll know exactly what you need in the draft. They got to build this team through both. What we'll do, time has gotten away from me. We'll come back tomorrow and we're going to talk about the mock draft and we're going to talk about the short choice. Michelle says, when asked questions, you have to listen to the question being asked before you answer. Yes. Like Micah Parsons, he doesn't listen to the questions being asked. This is why he's always grasping for answers. Yep. 100%. OBJ never saw the field with the Ravens. I thought he saw the field. I just didn't think they threw it to him. Row 504. I've been screaming it too. I've been saying Micah Parsons is a linebacker and not a true edge rusher. I've been saying it too. But I'm going to tell you about Micah Parsons, guys. I think one of the problems is when they let him do what he wants to do, it doesn't require film study. Not the way it does if you're going to play linebacker. You're going to play linebacker? It's a lot of film study. You don't have time for podcasts. A lot of film study. You got to know what everybody's doing. You got to study your opponent more. If you're going to play linebacker, it's going to require a lot of study. And I guarantee you, though, even the great edge rushers, they study too. I just don't think Micah studies a lot. I think right now, Micah's in danger. Micah's in danger of going off of pure ability. The problem with pure ability, if you don't add to it a great football mind, the moment you lose a step, you're done. But if you can keep improving up here, you can nullify losing a step because now your technique is better. Not only is your technique better, but because you study better. You can beat guys in their head rather than beating them with athletic ability. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to beat every player with athletic ability. You're just not going to be able to do it. You're just not going to be able to do it. The greats beat people in their mind. That's what the greats do. In every sport, across every sport, the greats beat people in their minds. Michael got to get to that point, but he can't. He can't focus on football because Mike McCarthy, I agree with what he said. Whatever you're doing during the football season is less you're doing for football. It's true. It's absolutely true. Freddie says, watch the do a sign and trade with Micah and send his big mouth to Cleveland for Garrett if Micah keep acting up. Man, I tell you what, they ought to do it for the fan base. I think the fan base would be ecstatic. But I'll tell you this, Cleveland going to come down off of trying to get people to give them players. He's the one asking for the trade. JNY Blue says, appreciate that 1999 super chat. Skip Bayless, I don't even want to hear his name anymore. He's one of those wee-woo fans. Eagles won 2 Super Bowls. Dallas won 4. I have been a fan since I was 8 years old. Me too. I'm 63 now. I love the Dallas Cowboys. JNY Blue, DC4L for life. Man, I couldn't even imagine going for another team. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I mean, what I was talking about served a purpose, and I hope it met its purpose. But now, It's time to get back to beating the brakes off the doggone Philadelphia Eagles. It's time to get back to beating the brakes off of them. Neezy said also, G, had it not been for Jerry being cheap and not buying curves with the sun glare. Yes. We could have beat them Eagles. I think the first game we could have beat them. And think about this. That was Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott would have ate on that defense that day. He would have ate on it. Dana Jett said D-Law is a cancer on the field. Look like D-Law ain't gonna be here no more. So no need to worry about D-Law. They're not re-signing him. DC Trucker said nobody causes these fumbles. The ball just slips out of y'all hands. Dank said who even knows how Dak is gonna rehab from his latest injury. He's good. Yeah, he good. Yeah, Dak is good. No doubt about it. Freddie says, I DVR. Oh, I got you. I DVR every Cowboys game and rewatch them in the offseason. I'll watch last season games next Sunday, starting with the preseason. I think I'm going to do that too. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to do that. I found an app that I can break down film with diagrams and things of that nature. So I think I'm going to start breaking down some film, and that'll be some other stuff that we'll be doing in the offseason, having some fun with that. 70s fans, they destroyed their city. Talking about the Eagles, right? Yeah, they are crazy, meaning crazy Grill Cesar said. Yeah, but passionate? Yeah, they're not more passionate than us. Yeah, Eagles fans ate horse boo-boo in 2017. Yeah, I ain't that crazy nor passionate. Nah, we're not that crazy. Derek looking like CD. You and Michael crazy. Yes. In both of those, he looking like both of them crazy. For real, though. CD answered the question correctly. She did not ask who has the largest fan base. And you know what? I think passionate. He used the word crazy. I still think the Cowboy fans, Michelle, are more passionate. I think they're more passionate. Man, the Cowboy fans, man, we bleed blue. We love our team. Alex, it's also easy to be more passionate when your team's had more success in recent years. Yeah, that's one of the things they're saying in the comments here. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody, man. I can't get to all the comments. I'm going to read this last super chat, and then I'm going to get out of here. No worries, though. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. If not 7 o'clock, depending upon what's going on around the net. No later than 7, but I'll send out the and tomorrow is going to be call-in for the members only. So the members, y'all get ready. I already got the video and everything ready. I'm going to send out the video with the number. Put that in the comments. Please do not give that number to non-members. That will be for you guys only to call in tomorrow night. So get ready. We're going to dedicate we'll probably dedicate a whole hour to the members calling in so y'all can meet some of the members. JNY Blue, MLB signed 5 major players. Dallas needs to be BAREA. Let's and sign players early. Yeah, for real. The Cowboys have definitely got to get busy. And that's why I say they need to decide now. The players are not going to keep. Let these guys know now. Let them know now. So March 12th, first order of business, sign our players, flip the switches on those contracts, and then we're playing on the first day too. At least one person on the first day. At least one person on the second day. At least. And if you don't go the first day, okay, we'll give you a break. At least one play on the second day, one play on the third day. But do not wait until everybody is gone, Dallas, and then start trying to play in free agency. We're not going for it this year. We're not going for it. That's just pure junk. But again, guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with me again. Appreciate all the super chats. Yes, sir. We're going to put all that right back into the channel. We got a lot of things going in that studio. I hate to keep talking about it, but when you see it, it's going to be nice. So again, appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all again tomorrow if the Lord is willing. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.